now and showing you what we can do with the apps. So my name's Rob Montgomery, founder of the Smart Film School. I'm based in Berlin, and of course I've been to Doha and the NTube Center doing a workshop before. We've got another workshop scheduled for the 15th of October. So register for that. Hello all. I can see you all in the chat window down there. I hope you can hear me okay. I've got a lot to show you. If you can see my screen over here, I've got some videos. I've got actually my phone connected, and I've got a presentation. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about some apps, and then I can jump out, and if everything works okay, I can actually demo some of those apps so you can kind of get an understanding, further understanding of why I use them for professional filmmaking. So this is, if you're looking for links, I'll just say if you go to robmontgomery.com, that's with 2 B's, you'll see that I've got posts on my website. Just search my website. I've got apps, all with the links to where you can get them. I've got a set for iOS, which is what we're going over today, and also a set for Android. But clearly, professional filmmakers are still using iPhones because of the equipment that you can attach to an iPhone to record Hollywood-style movies or really high-quality HD, 4K movies, videos, as well as the apps. And everything I do for the last couple of years, I've filmed and edited on my iPhone. So these are the icons of my most popular apps right now that I use on the phone. And if you look at kind of the categories for why we use apps to specific functions of filmmaking, I've kind of organized my favorite apps there for filming, although I can see I just had a typo there. It's filming. It's actually filming. And the most favorite app that I really like is called iMovie Pro, so make sure I show you that one. But there are a couple other apps I use, like slow motion. I can also do that in iMovie Pro or Filmic Pro. And the Hyperlapse app is another way to create special types of footage. The time-lapse app is another app that's already built into the device. So I use all of these. And then when it comes to editing, there's a great free video editing app called Splice, another one called Quick. They do different styles of video. Splice lets you do more standard type of video, but also do some advanced features. Quick is great for making social videos. And of course, the standard is iMovie. And then we look at apps that do specific things with video, like live video, Periscope or Facebook Live, being done within the Messenger app. And then if you want to do different types of aspects of filmmaking, like you really just want to work on the sound, Audio Copy is a great app. When you attach a good microphone and you're just doing the audio portions, you can work with that app to record and edit. And then getting into things like social video, there are some great one-trick pony apps. I had already mentioned Quick before. It's there again on the list. So let's just go through as we march through kind of 21 apps for filmmaking on an iPhone. Filmic Pro, by far, has been the most popular app used by professionals, used by actual filmmakers in America to make a film called Tangerine that screened in theaters, won a Sundance Film Festival Award, and was filmed on an iPhone 5S with this app and some of the gear I'll show you. It's actually was filmed in anamorphic with an anamorphic lens, which is what's this app supports, which is really great. You can tell it, hey, I'm filming an anamorphic lens. I want to film at this specific frame rate. I want to have control over manual focus, manual exposure, manual control over the white balance, the shutter speed, and you can get really, really high quality footage with Filmic Pro. It does cost money, but it's a lot less expensive than going out and renting or buying a professional film camera. Movie Pro is the app that I really am using pretty much now, more and more instead of Filmic Pro, because one of the things is I like if I'm filming handheld is the built-in stabilization features. So the built-in stabilization uses the chip to smooth your handheld footage pretty well. I still have the professional controls that I would be looking for as a filmmaker, you know, control over the frame rate to film in 25p. If you don't know what that is, maybe we can just pause and talk about that. That's one of the great things about using these video recording apps as opposed to the default camera. That's because the default camera is designed in North America, where television is done at 30 frames per second, because that way you don't get light flicker, because it matches the frequency of the electricity that's being delivered. Well, just about everywhere else, we're at 25 frames per second because it's at 50 frames per second, 50 hertz here. So the ability to override the default frame rate means that you can capture footage that doesn't flicker. And if you really don't believe me, just go try and take a picture of like a neon sign somewhere with your default camera, and then try it with one of these apps when you make the setting at 25p, and you'll see exactly what the problem is and how it is solved. 24p is also a very popular frame rate for getting a film-like look. That's what a lot of Hollywood movies are filmed at. And of course, it has support for the anamorphic filming. I'll show you what that means. In fact, maybe I should just jump out of the presentation and go right over to my phone. That's this window here. And I hope everyone can see that. It's full frame. These are the apps that I use for filming. You see I organize those all on the first pane of my device. So I have quick access to my cameras when I need them. And then the other panes are for editing and for social media. So that's how a pro organizes their device. And if we go into the Movie Pro app, hopefully it'll work. I'm going to tap on it, and you'll see I'm going to rotate here. Oh, look, there's some filmmaking gear. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. And this right here is an anamorphic lens. And this is the rig. There's a couple, 3-4 different pieces put together here. This is the lens cap. And what an anamorphic lens does is it squeezes horizontally the image. Yeah, compresses it optically. And then using an app like Movie Pro or Filmic Pro, it can record that extra wide information and then de-squeeze it so that you can edit it. And you get a Hollywood look without cropping your video. So that's the lens, and it's attached to a Beast Grip Pro here, which is a really nice, lightweight but professional and adjustable mount. So you can put your phone in there of any size, get it all lined up. You can see I've also got attached a nice microphone from Rode, very low cost, about 60 or 70 bucks. Goes right into the phone. And then I have a Manfrotto pretty sturdy little mini tripod that I can use to make it stable, or I can use for handheld filming. Now, that's the gear. This is the app, and if we look at the app there and I touch here, you can see I can get independent control of the focus and exposure. I can control those things down here as well manually. How dark and how light the picture is. That's the exposure. Where I'm focusing on, I can focus manually. And then I can lock those things down. And I can do the same with the white balance in terms of what the color temperature is. Is it more like blue, like sunlight, or is it more like warm, like an incandescent light? And I can even manually see how I just turn that a little, and it becomes more orange. So this are manual controls that you would find on a very expensive film or video camera right here within the app. And those are the key things in terms of setting up the camera to get manual control. You can also monitor the audio, and you can turn on a third grid guide. You see there's a grid there of 9 squares. Now that doesn't record on the video. That's just for the camera operator to be able to frame subjects properly for filmmaking. And if we go into the settings, you can see you can make presets of what resolution, how high you want it. If you've got 4K, you could film in 4K. Of course, you may not be able to film at a higher frame rate, which higher frame rates are important when you want to do slow motion. You can determine the frame rate here. You can see I've chosen 25p. If I wanted to do slow motion, I would choose like 200. That would be 8 times 25. That would film 8 times as much video frames per second. So when it's played back 8 times slower. In other words, that's true slow motion. Rather than taking normal footage and slowing it down, it never looks as good. So this lets me get the manual control for each of those. And then here, the magic one I told you before is video stabilization. I'm using the standard one quite often, but you might want to try the cinematic one. It depends on your device. You see they recommend for my phone, the 6 Plus, choose standard. And I get good results with that. I'm shooting handheld. And you can see on preset 2, here I've got the only thing that's changed there is I'm filming at a higher frame rate, 60 frames per second. That's usually my default in filming because I always want to have the ability to slow something down at least half speed in a moment. And I just get more video fidelity by filming at a slightly higher frame rate, in this case double. Although that was because I was filming in America. So now that I'm back in Europe, I would change that to 50, and now that's 50 is double, and I'll save that as the preset. In there I had used the cinematic stabilization. And then preset 3, this is one where I had, again, made an 8 times for America slow motion setting. So at the frame rate there, if I tap on 240, I'll just pop that down to 200, because that's 8 times 25, and that lets me film slow motion. The other thing that's really nice is that I can decide, because when you're filming in slow motion, the audio is not great, you can turn that audio silent. So I'm just not even going to worry about recording the audio when I know I'm filming in slow motion. And I use the cinematic stabilization again for slow motion. So those presets are really great. If I just stop that down, and then they'll pop up here. So 1, 2, 3, there's my slow-mo, there's my twice, there's my normal. And of course, when you're filming in slow motion, did you notice how how it got darker? Yeah, when you're filming in slow motion, you're going to have to go and adjust the exposure again. And in this case, I can do it with either ISO, which is the light sensitivity, or I could do it with the shutter speed. I could lower the shutter speed to get my my frame properly exposed. So that app also will let you save your clips to your camera roll, which is really important because when you're looking for your footage to then edit, you want to be able to find it in your camera roll rather than have to go back in the app every time and then move it out. So make sure, if we go back into settings again, we can see where we're saving the videos to. There we are, camera roll. Yeah, rather than the library within the app. So those are the key settings. And boy, if you can do that and use either Filmic Pro has a very similar setup, either Filmic Pro or Movie Pro, you will start to get amazing footage captured with your iPhone. Now, Filmic Pro is also available for Android. There's also one called Cinema FV5 for Android. And here's the thing, depending on how powerful your Android is, the chipset basically just think the flagship model, like the latest flagship model of, let's say, Samsung, LG, etc., Sony, those are more than likely going to be supporting these advanced filming applications, camera apps. And you can check with the app developers to see exactly if your model is supported. So those are my main cameras. Up on the top, I also use the Hyperlapse app. Again, that is, and I hack it. Often what I'm using for, Hyperlapse is for, of course, I can record a camera move through space, and time-lapse it. But if I just show you, if I record something, and then, right, there's just a little tilt-down move, and we see there's the Hyperlapse. Normally, of course, you're walking through a scene or recording for 10 or 12 seconds minimum. But if you see the preview at 6 times, if you slide that over to 1x, what you're going to take advantage of is the fact that a smartphone camera has an accelerometer in it, right? And it knows where it is in three-dimensional space, and the developers use that data to stabilize your handheld camera move. So you can use the Hyperlapse app to get a really smooth camera move. Just remember to slide it over to 1x before you hit the check mark. Yeah? And then it will write that piece of video to your camera roll, and you'll have it available for your edit. So it's a really, really great. Oh, Mustafa says, could I please show some material? Now, are you talking about some results? Ah. Okay, so we've all been kind of backstage here. Here's a couple of the camera apps. Here's a couple of the pieces of gear that I use. What can you expect in terms of quality? So great question. In fact, what I've got here is a playlist of some recent test footage I made in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. I'm going to put a link right there in the chat. You can click on it on your own, and I can also show it to you a little bit. But here's what we're talking about. You see how wide this framing is of this shot? This is almost like 21:9. You know, if we think of our normal TVs at 16:9, that's widescreen. This is 21. It's 5 wider, and it's technically actually called 2.39:1. So that's the actual film ratio. Very common for Hollywood screenings. Anything is showing in a movie theater. And this is achieved by the anamorphic lens squeezing the extra information from the sides and fitting it into what the sensor can record, and then using software to de-squeeze and decompress that back to those original dimensions of basically 21:9. So what you get is all of the information recorded, and you get this cinematic presentation without any cropping, without any loss of visual information or digital information, if you will. So you get a super effect. This effect is used in Star Wars, Blade Runner, Aliens, you name it. Movie after movie are filmed with anamorphic lenses for this very reason. So let's just watch a little bit of that. There was a time lapse, so I used my time lapse app with the anamorphic lens. Here's some handheld tracking shot with the anamorphic lens using the Movie Pro app. There I am walking into the scene in a little cameo of this reel. And so every day I was out, and there was horizontal lens flares. If I scrub back, that's another feature. That's a telltale sign of someone who has filmed with, here it is again. I'll try and pause it on it. Oh, just missed it. Try it one more time. There, horizontal lens flares. Aliens, the movie Aliens. Watch Aliens, you'll see what we're talking about. So that's one of the artifacts, and filmmakers kind of like that. And that's how you know something was filmed anamorphically. And again, it's kind of tricky, but it's designed so that you can film a movie and then screen a movie in a theater or a screening room, and it just looks like it was done with a big camera, and it's not. It's done with a smartphone. A camera that will fit in my backpack as I film people climbing straight up a granite rock overlooking a lake in the Colorado Rockies. So that's the real fun of this, and you'll see other examples in that playlist. They're on the link there, because that's what I like to do. I like to test the limits. I'm like, can I make a real Hollywood movie with a camera that just fits in my backpack? Could I get that quality? You can see here's an unboxing video. So this is a playlist. There's the pieces as they come. A B-strip, I don't know, let's say, I don't have prices, but let's say it's $200, and let's say the anamorphic adapter from Moondog Labs is $200. So for less than $400, you can get those two pieces that come together that work with the app. So there we go. I'll just pause that out. Good. We've got our apps. So we just kind of scratched the surface here. If you look at my phone again, you know, those are my main apps on top. Some of the others are because I do journalism. I need to be able to do live. I hope everything's looking good there on the screen. If I need to film live, I'll use Periscope or Facebook Live or the Iris app. That's an enterprise app for news organizations if they want to have their reporters be able to send live pictures back to their newsrooms privately, or from anyone in their audience. They can put it into their apps, and it's pretty powerful. Twitter, of course, you can do video, post right to Twitter. You can even use Twitter as a camera app. It has it built in where you can record little clips and make a little video up to 30 seconds. Pretty cool. The Dji Go, that's for the Osmo. That's for controlling that Osmo camera. That's a stable cam that connects to your phone, and your phone is a viewfinder and a controller. That's the app that makes that possible. And just a couple others are for audio recording. The Maestro app is one that is used with a specific microphone from Sennheiser. Again, a professional mic, costs about $200. Comes in on the digital side. So when I'm recording voiceovers or professional sounding interviews, I'm going to use that microphone, and then that app lets me set the control of the levels and prevent distortion, because it also has an audio limiter into the section, audio section, that helps you prevent clipping and distortion. And of course, I always want to be able to find my material, so that's the Photos app. And that's my home screen. So that's what it's all organized, is around the function of capture, pretty much. Moving into the next screen is where we get into editing. So let's just kind of bounce back into the overview, and that will be in the presentation here. We talked about hyperlapse. We can create two different types of footage with it. We can create traditional hyperlapses, which are accelerated camera moves, and also we can hack it by sliding it to 1x to record camera moves that are handheld that look stabilized, because it takes advantage of the stabilization in the app and your phone. Now moving into editing, splice. This used to be called Replay. The app was called Replay, and it was so great. I was teaching that probably at the last workshop. Guess what? It was so great that GoPro bought it, the company, and they've rebranded it as Splice. So if you've used Replay before, you may have noticed it's got an upgrade, mainly just in the naming, because the functionality is still pretty much the same. It makes it really easy to select your clips, trim them, do the order that you would like them to appear in, and then do additional things like, do you want to put some text overlay? Do you want to make a silent movie where you can have the subtitles and they can look and be stylized? And would you like to then be able to record a voiceover to your picture lock, to your visual sequence? You can do all that in this free app. It's great. Quick lets you do some of those features. Again, Quick was an app that also guess what, got bought by GoPro. And so this app, this was the one that was previously called Replay. I'm sorry, I had misspoken. Because here's the thing, GoPro saw two great video editing apps. One that does like just great video editing, straightforward video editing, and one that does ones for social video. And this is what they did. They bought Replay and renamed it Quick. And it's really great for making short videos. There's a really good music library. It's really, really simple. I've got some tutorials in the Smart Film School on how you can real quickly add your clips. You can even add in still pictures. It will animate them. There's all kinds of different presets for the editing decision list that can dramatically change how the video looks. And then it's really easy just to reorder your shots and then add a text element that, again, will get something that look like it was done in After Effects with the animation builds. Let's just pop over and see if I could show you anything like that. Because Quick is so exciting, it's often one of the first apps we show in a workshop. If I go back here to the phone and I open up Quick, let's see if something will play from a recent project. Okay, here's one. It was in Estes Park. There was a giant checkerboard that kids could use. And this is a video made from just still photos. You see all those animation effects popping from black and white to color, doing a Ken Burns effect. There's a nice animation build in, build out, where it slices the image and pop flashes it. And you've got a music soundtrack that synchronizes to the sound at those points. It uses beat tracking and sensing so that it's making those cuts on the beat. Really, really fun app to use. I definitely recommend you get that on your phone and try it out. Here's one I did of some dancers performing at night. Now this is with video clips, and I'm telling the story silently. And all I had to do is like select my clips, the order I want them to be on, and the words that I wanted to appear. And then I just audition different presets. You know, hey, does it look good with this preset? Well, let's try it with this one. So it's really cool because your edit of your content is separate from the stylistic presentation of that content. And that's why it's a really fun app to explore filmmaking. You see, this is really high quality stuff. Look at those guys with the big cameras. You know, I'm out there competing there with my little Osmo and my iPhone. Yeah, and it's fun because these guys have got cameras that cost 10 times as much. And guess what? My footage got out to social media almost instantly because of the Quick app and because of this workflow. So I like everything that I film to be able to come into my phone so I can have the full power of editing it and sharing it with my social networks. That to me is the real advantage of using smartphones for any of this, is that trifecta. Of course, I've got better cameras, I've got laptops, I've got Final Cut, you know, DaVinci Resolve, all that stuff for traditional video. But now I'm seeing that I can get so much, almost the same level of quality with lightweight gear, which means I can film from anywhere. I can film instantaneously, spontaneously. I can be more improvisational. So if I just happen to be going down the road and I see someone's got a 6x6 six-wheel drive Polaris and want to go dune bashing, I just have my little backpack with my film gear in it, and here we go. Can make a film and share it. Really great. And that's just with the Quick app. So, you know, I showed this, you think, oh, is that professional? Is this really? Look, I mean, this was a broadcast client of mine. This is the public broadcaster in Belgium. And they invited me to work with their staff to show them how to use this gear. Can you believe it? The television guys are asking me. And I showed them. So we did some stories. We worked with their social media news team. And we used this app and the phone. So there you go. Yes, it can be fun. It can be just for your hobby, but it can also be used professionally. So those are probably the best editing apps just from beginning to end to be able to produce something that you can be really proud of. Now, of course, iMovie is the classic video editor. There's nothing wrong with it. It's always going to work. It almost never crashes. And I can do a lot of the same stuff where I can put in together a sequence. I can have a second track of video where I can do cutaway shots. So if I've got an interview talking head, after a few seconds, then I can show a visual sequence. I can do voiceovers. I can do split screen. I can do a few things. It's just, you know, frankly, it's a lot easier to do some of those things in Splice now, for example. But there are times when I actually want to then use that app, or I might use a combination. I might use Splice to create some elements, then I'll dump it into iMovie because I want to have a cutaway track, and I'll take advantage of that feature. So that's the other thing, is when you look at my phone, when you look at all the apps, just think about what you're trying to do, and there's no rule once you get that video clip into your photos, into your camera roll, that you can't then bring it into another app and do something else with it. So there's not one app that's going to do everything. That's what we do on the desktop. On the mobile, it's more like having a suite, almost like having an ecosystem of apps. Some things can go from start to finish, but other times we might want to go into an app that has special capabilities, like the ability to output 25p video, which is really important if you're a broadcaster outside of America and you're using smartphones. I showed you the front end where we can make a camera that records in 25p. But if we want to edit video in 25p, you've got to use Pinnacle Pro. And that's what the broadcasters here are using. so that it can go to air. That's right. Stuff that's being filmed on a smartphone is going to air. A Pinnacle Pro costs a little bit more, but it is based on a more of a desktop style editing solution. So if you're familiar with that environment, you'll be happy to know it can be done on a phone. Although, to be honest, it's just a lot more comfortable to do it on something like, an iPad Pro, because that app has so many controls that just really are a lot easier to work with on a larger screen. But that's no problem. You can just airdrop those files to your iPad Pro, or you can use the camera kit to move them from your Osmo to that device. Either way, it's still the iOS editing environment, and the apps work identically. Udemy, of course, I put that app on there because there are tons of courses on there, including lessons on how to produce video and films. These are the courses that I've put on there, but there are others you might want to check out. And it's great because you can get all those lessons. You can download them into the app on your phone, and you can have me whispering in your ear, hey, remember the 25p, remember the 6-shot pattern, remember this setting when you're using that app. And you can have all those courses with you on your phone. So the Udemy app is great. If you've already got some Udemy courses, now you can have them on your phone. Audio Copy is a free app for recording and trimming audio clips. Attach a professional mic to your phone, you've got like a Marantz field recorder. You've got the ability to work with audio files and then be able to move that audio clip like into iMovie or into other editing apps. JamSnap, now this is just a fun interactive multimedia app. This doesn't have anything to do with filmmaking, but it has pretty much everything to do with storytelling, because you take a picture and then you can attach hotspots that are sound files, basically, that you're recording. So you can do it in real time, whether say you've done an interview with somebody, or you've taken a picture or portrait of somebody, you want to get a couple sound bites. You can attach them and they play back with that photo. Or if you use the Audio Copy app, that's why they recommend it, you can have some pre-recorded audio or post-recorded audio and then bring it into a JamSnap. So it's a way to take a still photo and attach sound files to it in a really fun, easy way. So explore that if that is something you're interested in. ThingLink is something else that follows the similar principle. You've got a still image. It could be a map. It could be a photograph. And then you can add hotspots. Those can be links to other videos on YouTube. They could be other photographs. They could be web, social media, Twitter IDs, whatever. And you can create an interactive image. And the nice thing about ThingLink is that if you've already been using it on the desktop, the mobile app syncs to your account. So it's like a lot of things. You have an account, and then whether you start your project on the desktop, you can edit it on the phone or iPad, or vice versa. Maybe you start a ThingLink on your phone, and then you want to edit it later. You just log into ThingLink on your web browser, and you're right into your project. And those can be shared. Social media, they can be embedded into websites. Really great way to create a story, a standalone story that's built around a still image. Storyline is a great app if you, let's say, want to make a voiceover recording to a series of pictures. Let's say you've had a great tour of a museum exhibit or an activity that's happening outside, and you've got a visual story, wide, medium, close shots. You've got a good idea of what you might say for each picture, and then you want to record that sequence of pictures with a voiceover. Now you can do that in iMovie. It's just a lot more steps. This app makes it really easy. It's just a one-trick pony. You select your 10 pictures, and then you start recording, and then you can, I didn't like the way I sounded there. I can re-record it until you're happy, and then what it outputs is a finished video ready for social media or WhatsApp. It's called Storyline. Legend Text, this is another one-trick pony app. It creates animated text, video clips like title cards or text animations right within your phone. I can show you that because it's ridiculously easy to create a piece of video from words, whereas on the desktop that's a little bit harder because you need to open a complicated video editing program. Legend text, if I just bounce back over to the phone, makes it really, really easy. So legend text, there it is. Oh, it's already given me kind of a suggestion for, hello. I was just chatting over at the chat there. I hope you guys are okay. You're not falling asleep. You're still with us. Right now we're going to show you the magic trick, basically, the legend text video editor, where I can just take some words and turn them into video clips. And then I can bring them into my editing projects, whether it's Quick or iMovie or Splice, with my footage. So I could have any of those animations, or here's another series of 6 that I could choose from. And they're all kind of preset styles. And they're all going to be square, so they're really made for Instagram editing. And that's one of the other things I like about some of those video editing apps, is they allow you to edit in different formats, square being one of them. So you can choose one of those. And then if you further wanted to look at the kind of the preset filters, maybe you like blue diamonds, I don't know. Some of those can get pretty ugly pretty quick, so I would say always the default with filmmaking is white text and a black background. That always seems to work, and then you can just go to the more, and you can render that video, and it will save it out to your camera roll. In the next step, I can just save that video. Success! Your legend has reached its destination. That's the only thing this app does. It does it really well, and that's legend text. We're almost to the end. Periscope, of course, is for live video. It's ridiculously easy to use. If you haven't watched some Periscopes, it's very interactive experience that you're showing the audience with your camera. They can hear your voice, but they interact through the chat window. So that comes up as a data layer, animated layer, and really great for going live from anywhere with just your phone. Pick, Play, Post, I say it's like a Swiss Army knife of visual image production because I keep finding really good uses for it. It helps me solve problems. Let's say I want to take a series of pictures and turn them into a video clip so that I can build them onto the second track of an iMovie project. In iMovie, you get 2 tracks of video, but the only things that you can import onto that top track are video clips. So guess what? I'll come to an app like Pick, Play, Post and say, hey, I want to make a video clip from these 6 pictures to cover 15 seconds of video cutaway. And I can do that. Or I can create a collage with multiple windows, some of which can have still frames, some of which could have a legend text animation, or it could even have a still picture in there. And I can create like a story card using this app. So depending on how we use that, time permitting, let's just go into that and give you a demo. Let's see if I can show you exactly what I was just talking about there. Because I had just created this piece of square video. And now if I go to Pick, Play, Post, it's also available for Android. You'll see what I've got there are a number of formats. So I could choose like a collage format. I don't know. I have to clear the content out first. Maybe I choose something that has horizontal video and 2 squares, like this. But I can see that's a little stretched. So I can also change the aspect ratio of that collage. So maybe I'll go to that, and then I'll go, maybe a piece of video there would be good. Let's see what I've got. Oh, I've got that piece of video right there. I can use that, and that goes into one pane there. If I choose another photo, I don't know, this is where I'm going to be walking next week in the Alps. And then if I choose another piece of video and I go to videos and I choose that legend text, Now that'll go in there. And we can kind of preview that. And we'll have 2 pieces of video. We'll have a photo. Maybe the aspect ratio needs to be changed. So that's one way to use Pick, Play, Post to output a video that has multiple panes. The other is, and this is the hack, and I like to show you those hacks because they solve problems, is to go to the one with just one square in it. Oh, I need to use the trash can to delete any previous content. And if I go there, I can say I want to be 1:1. Or I want to be 16:9 because I want it to match the rest of my footage. Now if I go and add, I go to the slideshow choice, not video, not photo, and I go to slideshow, and it will prompt me, hey, are there a number of pictures? Let's see what I've got here. Let's see what it does. If I go to all photos, I've only got a few photos here, guys, because I cleared my phone before my next trip. But let's say I want that one, and that one. And now I can say, okay, those are the order, or I can change the order of those. They're not the greatest pictures, but anyways, what I'm going to get is video. And down here is a slider. It can be slower, it can be faster. You see the standing man or the running man. And it'll say, okay, each slide will be on screen for, let's say, I'm looking for 4 seconds. So that's what I'm really looking at. I slide it right there. Time per slide, 4 seconds. Great. If I wanted a preset for Instagram, preset for Vine, those are on there as well. I go done. I go to the green X. And then I like to take off that white border. That's the only thing I don't like about this app. By default, it puts a white border on there. You know, I don't want that. So I'm just going to remove that white border so I get full frame video. And now if I share it to my camera roll, which is right down there on the bottom left, it'll optimize the quality and render those 3 pictures as a piece of video. Each of them pictures are going to appear for 4 seconds. And that's really useful because then I can put that into an editing project where it could be a lot more steps involved or a lot harder to get the pictures and exactly the timing that I want. So that's why I like that app, Pick, Play, Post. A couple different ways to use it as a collage builder or as a video builder. Storeo. Now, I believe this one is also Android and iOS. This one makes it a breeze to add photos and text and create a video. The real easy thing about it, too, is that if you wanted to create like a locator map, it can use some of the geodata from the image and create. It can also auto-populate it, your slides with your location. So look at that one. If you're looking, hey, I would like to have a location graphic on there as well, or I just kind of like the styles from the preset routines that are built in. Storeo is a great app to try out. In nutshell, is really a fun and fast app that you can use to create kind of a hyperlapse video that can have 3 different framing sizes. So I like to use this in teaching filmmaking and get students to use that app and say, okay, show me a wide shot, show me a medium, show me a close-up. And what Nutshell will do is take those 3 pictures, turn it into a video that then you can also do overlays of graphics or text onto. It's got some fun little animations. So it's really a lot of fun. It's for more lightweight stuff, but you may find that it's, in a nutshell, a good app for you. Layered. Actually, what I'm using now, I probably need to update this. Layered is a way to add text over video. And, you know, I was using Layered, and then I found a better app. So actually, I need to update that to one called Gravy. So Gravy, see, I'm always testing the latest stuff, so you guys are getting the latest and greatest. Hey, last time you talked about Layered. Well, now I found a better app called Gravy. And Gravy does a couple things. It lets me get a lot more control over the timing, the build-in, the build-out of any text I put over video, as well as being able to put a watermark on each of my projects. So that was a real killer feature for me, worth the couple bucks to buy the app. So you remember before I showed you this app, this video of the hike in the Rocky Mountain National Park. Well, I did my edit in Splice, and then I brought that video clip into Gravy. And then in Gravy, here's where I could add my, let me just expand here. You can see this red bar here. That's the type that says, Mills Lake. And this green one, that's the one that's, I'm sorry, the red one was the watermark, and the green one is the type that I want there. So that's Rocky Mountain National Park. I can look at the fonts choices available, find something professional. I could change the color, centered, left justified, right justified. I could delete it. I'll just say done. And you see I can position that anywhere I want on my video. I can even, with the arrows going two sides there in the box, I can decide where does that video text appear, where does it leave the video. So I like this guy walking into the scene overlooking the lake, and then the type to come up, Rocky Mountain National Park. So it synchronizes with the visual presentation of the shot. The other thing I can do there is under the effects button. This is really cool, as I can have that effect build in, like with a rotation or just fade in. That's kind of classy and nice. It could move in, that's okay too. I can decide which way I want it to move. Do I want it to be fast or slow? This is now starting to get into the kind of controls that we're used to seeing on the desktop with video editing solutions, and it's right here on my phone. Where do you want it to slide in from? Do you want it to come from the right or left? You select the starting point. So now it's going to slide in from the right a little bit slower. And you can do the same for the build out of that animation. So each element you put on there can also have, there you go, Rocky Mountain National Park slides in from the right. Kind of goes with the camera move. I kind of like that a little better. So I'm looking for things that synchronize. Yeah, synchronization of content, style. And then this is my watermark. It's just a logo that I had. Made sure I had a transparent background around it, so that when it's put over video, it doesn't have any edges other than what I want. So I created that in Illustrator. Then I saved it to my Dropbox as a PNG file, and then I could just bring it into this project as a graphic element. And again, I can also animate those. I can just decide the size. The build-in is a rotate. The build-out will also be a rotate. So now when it appears, here we are. There it is. It kind of just swings into view. That's kind of really something you'd see on television. And I'm doing it on my phone. So if you want to create a new element, you use the plus button. And here you go. You can either choose a templated element. You want to create text, you want to bring in an image, that's how I got my watermark there, or a piece of clip art. They might even have some clip art there. I don't know, mustache, that's not going to work. Anyways, it depends on your video project. You can see why I probably didn't need any of these things, but you might if you're creating like a title card or a transition in your video from one scene to another. You can really have a lot of creative fun looking at the different types of graphics you've got on there. Now I've got something that looks like a white square in the middle of my video. Oops, I don't want that. Well, no big deal. I'm just going to tap on the blue bar there and use the trash can icon, and that element is now gone. So there you go. There's something filmed with the anamorphic lens, edited, filmed with the movie Pro app, right? Edited in Splice. Then brought into Gravy, where it's getting all these professional touches there with the swing in of the watermark and the slide in of the title, and wow, I'm almost all the way there. I just got to probably really produce a nice script and a voiceover, and there's a piece that's ready to be shown, in a movie theater, because it's all has all the right ingredients. And that's what I find really fun, is that all this stuff is now possible with the thing we carry around with us everywhere we go. It's just getting that knowledge of how to look for the tools, and maybe you find this tool, but maybe you find a better one. So make sure we upgrade that to its gravity now, not layered. And that's just something, you know, in the last few weeks that I've learned. So this presentation is maybe just a little older than that, but not much more. The Viz app is a great way to create graphics. If you want to create a chart from numerical information, you've got, hey, how many people are Android? How many people are iOS? Let's make a graphic out of it. Viz lets you do it. It lets you create a really nice looking type of graphic, not something you would create in like Excel. So again, style is important. Adobe Post, if any of you are into creating like social graphics where you've got a picture and you want to have really beautifully set typography elements with it, maybe some clip art, well, Adobe basically puts an art director in your pocket with this app, the Adobe Post app. And I know we're probably running really close to the end, but maybe just one more demo because I know we're getting to the bottom of the list. It's now called Spark Post. So guess what? It's even if you're constantly updating everything, then the developers go and change everything. And what happened was Adobe has a bunch of apps, and now they've used Spark as their branding. So now it's, instead of Adobe Post, it's Spark Post. So that's the icon. It's yellow now. Guess what? It's the same app. And you just tap on the plus button, and you can go to your library and get a picture. Hey, here's some pasta. I like to make fresh pasta. You know, here's a picture of some squares. You know, I'm going to be making some shells. So, but I want to put some type over that area. You know, hey, join me for pasta night, or we're going to have some recipes. You can choose that picture. You can decide on your framing. There's some presets there. I want it to go right on Instagram. If I pinch and zoom, I can get it to just exactly what I want. Yeah, and then go next. And now I'll start to get some suggestions of how the type should look. And that actually looks pretty bad. So the first thing I might do is just say, is there a theme out there? And you can just tap through and start your editing with getting something in the ballpark, maybe close to what you want. And then you'll have all of this fine degree of control. Let's just start with that one. Pretty simple. I can, of course, double tap to edit my text. So what do I want to say? Pasta night with Chef Rob. Yeah, oops, I had a typo. No big deal. I can always go back at any time and fix those things. So pasta night with Chef Rob. There's 4 handles that come up there. I can resize that, position it where I want. And now with each of these other icons, I get a lot of control. I like to look at the spacing. And this is what I'm saying. This is like getting an art director in your pocket. I mean, just go through a couple of those presets. That's too much spacing. That's not enough, but maybe I like that it pops over. I'll probably just go back to that one. Or that one. Do I want this to have some opacity so I can see, you know, the dough below? That's a really pro feature. I can change the font. And this is what's cool. Tapping on the different color palettes, if I just tap through this color combination, it will give me a series of choices for the next one. Do I want the type to be lighter? Oh, that one's not so bad. If I really wanted to change the color, there we go. And so on. Do I not like that shape now? Did I want something a little less decorative? Or do I want to go something just a little more kind of modern? I could do that. And then again, I could come back and look at different colors and get something in a reasonable amount of time. I have no idea what that does. Wow, look at that. That's some new control I haven't even seen. I can just kind of even preview different styles. So anyways, a lot of fun. Oh, and if you wanted that to be a still picture, no problem. You can just share that out as a save image, and it'll go into your camera roll. But here's what's really cool: you can actually create video. You just tap on the animation. Now I can have that still photo and that type turn into a nice build and be an animation, or I could have it slide in. And if I didn't want the photo to be colored with a filter back there, I could just go to none, and that won't happen. So now my animation I can save out as a video. So here's a way to create a video, again, from a still photo, some words, and have something really, really high quality to share on Instagram, to invite people to, hey, come over and let's cook. Yeah, let's make some pasta together. It's a lot of fun. So I saved that video. That's now on my camera roll. So that's why I like these apps. That's the things that I'm looking for when I'm exploring them as a visual storyteller, as a professional filmmaker. Oh, I think there were some other ones there. You can see I did. This is a photo, believe it or not, of my daughter. It was we're at 12,500 feet in the Colorado Rockies. It's cold, and it was at sunset, and she had her scarf on, and I took a picture, and I stylized it in this app called Prisma, which creates it like a painting from it, and then did a little build there, I think, as an animation. Yeah. So now I'm a painter with my phone, and you can be too. If you just put a couple of these apps together, or I had done a promo there. Here I am. Here I was. Is what it looked like when I had filmed that movie I had shown you earlier. Well, I had created an animation, and I'd shared that with my Instagram people. So let them know that I was filmmaking in the Rockies. You can see there's my hiking poles, my backpack, and my anamorphic film camera, which is really just attached to my smartphone. And that, y'all, is just about everything, but not really everything. Oh, there's the Prisma app. That's the app you can use to create paintings from your photographs. And if you need to crop video into different shapes, Video Crop is a great app for that. If you've recorded some footage with the time-lapse in the built-in camera of your phone with your anamorphic lens, and you'll notice everything's squeezed, well, you want to use the D-Squeeze app to take it from the 16:9 squeeze to the 21:9 so it looks natural again. And you'll get that effect with your time-lapse footage, and that'll be at 4K by default because it's using the 4K camera. So that's a lot of fun. Those are a lot of apps, and I've shuddered to show you any more. I just tell you I do have a lot of tutorials on this in the Smart Film School, and also with what we're doing with the workshops in Doha and some of the training materials we're making. So I'm Rob Montgomery. It's about an hour. Those are 21 apps. Now let me just get out of my presentation so I can go over and see the chat window and see how you all are doing over there. Can you all see me? Great. So it should be me now on the screen. It's been my pleasure to run this webinar for you. I know they're recording it, so if you've got some friends, maybe you want to watch it on replay.